Hi, TechChill. I'm new to this community and grateful to be here. I look forward to connecting with many of you in the coming days and participating in this week's conversations. I've been fortunate to work with some incredible people in the Baltics and appreciate the conversation to speak here. Today, I'm going to talk about how we can use technology to become better plant parents. I'm going to debunk some plant myths and show you the simple and preventable reasons people struggle with plants. I'm also going to talk about how small acts of growing can have a much larger purpose, especially when it comes to human and environmental health. My hope is that you leave this talk feeling inspired to see the spaces around you differently and to realize that you are capable of bringing nature into them. I'm Alexi Coffey, and I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Steward. Steward is like having a botanist in your pocket. Our plant app enables you to scan a space and maps the plant potential, as you can see here. We call these plant maps, and they show you the exact plants that will thrive in your space and how to take care for them, as you can see here. Each plant map is unique, almost like a fingerprint. Here are a couple of examples. We launched Steward for Indoors last year when we realized people needed nature in our homes more than ever, and we've had a 96% success rate with hundreds of different indoor plant species. We founded Steward with the mission of enabling everyone to confidently grow and bring nature into the spaces we live, work, and play. My co-founder and I started Steward after we were invited to live at NASA Ames and research climate solutions at Singularity University. Previously, we had both been working on human and environmental health, and we realized that nature could have a profound impact on both. The science around plants and nature was already compelling and has continued to grow. On the one hand, nature improves our health and well-being, increases our lifespan, makes us happier, more creative and productive, and reduces stress and anxiety. The late Dr. Oliver Sacks famously said, "In many cases, gardens and nature are more powerful than any medication." And on the other hand, nature is the only way carbon has ever been removed from the atmosphere. Every breath of oxygen we've ever taken comes from plants or their relatives in our oceans. Perhaps even more importantly, and frequently left off the table, is the biodiversity crisis. Restoring ecosystems have been proven to bring back crucial pollinators and wildlife that we depend on for our food and the health of our planet. If given enough time and space, evidence shows nature would heal herself. But our generation doesn't have that time. Our theory is that by leveraging technology, we can accelerate nature's ability to recover. At the same time, I became fascinated by how so many people love plants, but the majority of us, myself included at the time, struggled to keep them alive. And yet sales in the plant industry show that we keep trying. If you look at our own history, all of our ancestors grew. It's only been in the past few generations that we've stopped passing along this essential knowledge, and most of us weren't taught how to grow. So the questions we obsessed over in the earliest days were, what if everyone could grow? And how might we use technology to give everyone this ability? To create Steward's technology, we learned alongside and from incredible botanists, horticulturalists, restorers, and gardeners from around the world. We began by studying the best growers, from forest fire restorers in California and coral reef growers in Florida, to incredible backyard growers we found on Reddit and wise grandmothers that had been growing on the same land for 50 seasons. What we witnessed in each of these people is that they have a sense of what to grow, which took years, even decades to learn. It was this learned sense that inspired us to leverage technology to enable others to learn in minutes what once took years. We then researched tens of thousands of struggling plants, and what we found surprised us. It turns out the number one cause and a major factor in 90% of struggling plants is placement, mainly having to do with light. It was a myth buster at its finest. Still to this day, if you Google, you'll read that overwatering is the number one reason plants struggle. But that's actually not true. It's not the root issue. Placement is the single most important thing to get right. Most people don't realize that for indoor plants, every few steps you take, light changes dramatically and different plants will thrive. Equipped with this new revelation, we were surprised by just how confusing language for light is. The common words to describe light requirements are all over the place. Bright indirect light, full sun, low light. They're confusing. And understanding light is not as intuitive as you might think. Our eyes are so good at adjusting to different light levels that they actually make it difficult to detect the level of light. To make it even more confusing, light isn't static. The sun is always on the move, and various external factors change throughout the year, such as tree cover, weather, and light refraction. So, if you're like the many people that don't think they can grow, you've likely struggled with placement. I've experienced this myself. You're not alone, and the good news is this is a simple and preventable issue. This is why we invented plant maps, to make placement simple. We've also created 10 zones to describe light and categorize plant needs. With the Steward app, you can scan your space, and we analyze your light quality and every variable that affects light, including the sun's ever-changing position in the sky, the trees outside your window, even changes in weather patterns. These maps aren't static. They are living, evolving maps that update each season or if there's a significant change to your environment. For example, I had some trees fall on my house last year. Don't worry, all of our plants were okay, but we did have to update our plant maps. Plant maps make it easy to confidently place your current plants where they'll thrive, to pick the right plants for your light and environment, and to understand the plant potential of each space. Plant maps also help us diagnose and treat struggling plants by providing a unique data layer of conditions data so an expert can get to the root cause quickly. They also inform us how often to care for your plants. Many plants can thrive in a range of light zones, but they will photosynthesize at different rates. Watering needs depend on the rate of photosynthesis. The higher the rate of photosynthesis, more water. Think about how thirsty you get on a hot day. This allows us to personalize your care routine to where your plants are actually placed. That's why sometimes you might Google how often to water a plant and it seems completely off. It's likely because it's been described for different conditions. If you've ever struggled with pest or plant diseases, it's important to remember that a healthy plant that's placed well will be better equipped to fight it. So much of plant care and gardening advice is generalized and generic because we haven't had a language and a system to be more specific. With Steward, plant care is personalized. It is this detail that allows us to be so specific and accurate with our recommendations. I mention this to nerd out with you now, but the goal is for us to take the guesswork out of this so you can spend less time stressing and have more fun growing. In the same way that we can use technology to bring nature indoors, we can also make our outdoor spaces healthy for us and the wildlife around us. In case you needed more inspiration on why to grow and get into plants, I want to talk about our larger vision at Steward. Looking at the many challenges and crises facing our communities today, climate, mental health, stress, biodiversity loss, food resiliency, a lot of these can be addressed by progressing our relationship with nature. This is why I believe democratizing the ability to grow is important. Scientists are saying this is the decade we must act, both in reducing our carbon emissions and in removing carbon through nature-based and technical solutions. While this is spoken about less often, we're experiencing major biodiversity loss. In addition to biodiversity being critical to our food system and the foundation of life on our planet, a garden full of wildlife, from butterflies to birds to insects, the true champions of the natural world, is one that is most healing to us as humans. Next time you have a chance to walk through your park or forest or sit in a backyard, listen to the activity. Planting with purpose can completely change the ecology and resilience of landscapes in just a few seasons, and it can start in your own backyard or public space. When you plant with natives, your impact goes far beyond that single plant. With the example of the oak tree, native to both the Americas and Europe, hundreds, even thousands of other species are positively impacted from your single act of planting. And here's why nature makes such a great partner. A single oak that you might see out your window or at your local park can produce thousands of acorns a season. This is an example of one of nature's go-to strategies, to overproduce because the chances of finding the right conditions for growth are so minuscule. And with the guidance of technology that's grounded in science, we humans are uniquely able to expedite nature's own abilities to heal. With an oak, collecting a few acorns on your walk and placing them in an ideal spot at the right time will increase the likelihood of a new tree making it to maturity by hundreds, even thousands of times. It is this thoughtful combination of plants, people, and technology that I find great hope in. It's why I believe that becoming a better plant parent, gardener, steward, is about being part of something that goes beyond our own homes. So what if our cities nurtured us? What if our homes made us healthy? What if we bridged the divide between the indoors and outdoors? What if we could become carbon neutral through planting? A professional tree planter can offset their life carbon emissions in an afternoon. What would it be like if we planted with purpose, even just a few times a year, when the chances of life taking root is highest and our actions most impactful? There is beauty in becoming part of the landscapes around us by tending to and contributing to them. And when you become part of something, there is far greater reward when you spend time in it. All spaces have the potential for life. By partnering with nature and using technology, we can fill these spaces with the forms of life that will thrive. So I hope you feel inspired to see the spaces around you differently and to be a more confident plant parent. Thank you.